Single dad came to repair the elevator, but when he spoke Italian to the CEO clients, everyone froze. I never thought my morning shift would change my life. I was just another maintenance guy in a gray jumpsuit, toolbox in hand, trying to make it through another day without being late to pick up my daughter from school. Being a single dad wasn't easy, but it gave every screw I turned, every bolt I tightened, a purpose. Everything I did was for her Lily. That morning, I got a service call from one of the most prestigious corporate towers in Midtown Manhattan, 45th and Lexington. The kind of place where everyone wore suits worth more than my car. The elevator had broken down in the middle of a high-profile meeting, and the client, apparently some international CEO, was furious. When I arrived, the marble floors reflected the panic of assistants rushing around like ants. Finally. "You're here," said a tall woman in a blazer, her voice sharp. The elevator stopped between floors. "The CEO and his Italian partners are waiting upstairs. This is a disaster." I nodded, keeping my head down. "I'll handle it, ma'am." She didn't look convinced. People like her rarely noticed guys like me unless something was broken. But that was fine. I wasn't there for attention. I opened the elevator panel, wires and circuits staring back at me like a puzzle I'd solved 1,000 times before. As I started fixing it, I could hear snippets of conversation echoing from the nearby conference room, polished accents, laughter that sounded expensive, and the faint melody of Italian words that made me pause for a second. It reminded me of someone, my late wife, Isabella. She was Italian, from Florence. The language used to fill our tiny apartment with warmth and music. Before she passed, she used to whisper to Lily in Italian when she put her to sleep. I never forgot the sound of it. "Dad," she told me once, "promise me you'll never forget where I come from." Teach her my words. I kept that promise. Every night, Lily and I practiced Italian before bed. She'd giggle every time I messed up a word. It was our secret bridge to her mom. Back to the elevator, I rewired the control circuit, reset the system, and the lights flickered back on. The doors creaked open, and a man in an immaculate suit stepped out, surrounded by others who looked like they walked out of a luxury magazine. The tall woman sighed in relief. "Thank God. Mr. Russo, this is the technician who fixed the issue." The CEO, Mr. Russo, turned to me, smiling. "Ah, you saved us. Grazie mille." Before I could stop myself, I replied, "Prego, signore. Era solo un piccolo problema tecnico." "You're welcome, sir. It was just a small technical issue." The entire room froze. The assistants, the translators, even Mr. Russo blinked at me like I'd just sprouted wings. The woman's eyebrows shot up. "You speak Italian?" I rubbed the back of my neck, embarrassed. Yeah. A little. My wife was Italian." Mr. Russo's expression softened instantly. "Davvero, your pronunciation, it's excellent. Which part of Italy?" "Florence," I said quietly. "My wife, Isabella. She passed away 3 years ago." The room went silent. Even the hum of the AC felt distant. Mr. Russo nodded slowly, his eyes kind. "Mi dispiace tanto. She must have been special." "She was," I whispered. "Still is." There was a moment, one of those rare, fragile pauses where everyone forgets about titles, suits, or who makes what money. Just humans, sharing the same language, the same ache. Then Mr. Russo smiled again, a glint of admiration in his eyes. Would you join us for a coffee? We were just discussing a new project. Perhaps your timing is more than coincidence. I laughed nervously. I don't think a maintenance guy belongs in a CEO meeting, sir. But he insisted. Sometimes, the right people enter at the wrong door. I hesitated, then followed him into the sleek boardroom. The table was glass, the chairs leather, the skyline stretching behind them like a movie scene. I stood awkwardly at the corner while he introduced me to his partners, all Italian. They started speaking in their native tongue again, and I understood most of it. They were discussing a new expansion for their hotel chain, one that would employ hundreds of local workers. One of the executives asked something technical about elevator load capacity in their new New York project, and before I knew it, I answered. In fluent Italian. Their head snapped toward me again. Mr. Russo leaned forward. You understand these systems? I've been fixing elevators for 15 years, I said. If you're building high-rises, I can tell you what's safe, efficient, and cost-effective. No sales pitch, just experience. He chuckled. You're wasted fixing elevators in lobbies. I don't mind, I said softly. It pays the bills and keeps food on the table. What about your family? He asked. My daughter, Lily. She's 10. Smartest kid I know. Loves math, just like her mom. He exchanged a look with his partners. Then, after a long pause, he said something that caught me off guard. We're looking for a technical consultant in our U.S. operations. Someone who understands both engineering and people. Someone we can trust. You'd be perfect. I stared at him. Sir, I don't have a degree. I'm just a man who just solved our elevator crisis and spoke to us like an equal, he interrupted. That's not just anything. I didn't know what to say. The woman from earlier, the one who brushed me off, was now staring at me in disbelief. By the time I left the building, my hands were trembling, not from nerves, but from something I hadn't felt in years, hope. That night, when I picked up Lily from school, she ran into my arms, waving a drawing she made of the two of us. Daddy, did you fix the elevator today? I smiled. Yeah, baby. And maybe I fixed a little more than that. She tilted her head. What do you mean? I laughed, scooping her up. I'll tell you after pizza. Over the next few weeks, I met with Mr. Russo and his team several times. They weren't bluffing. They wanted me to join their project officially. A proper salary, benefits, even tuition support for Lily. They said they admired my work ethic, my humility, and the way I carried myself despite the struggles. For the first time in years, I felt seen, not as a man in a jumpsuit, but as a father, a builder, a person. Sometimes life doesn't open doors. It gets them stuck between floors until you learn how to fix them yourself.